Good morning. Welcome to 49ers in 5, your daily update on everything happening with the team that you need to know. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. Today is Monday, June 5th, 2023. Here's what's happening with your San Francisco 49ers. Another day, another good report on Brock Purdy's health. This one also comes from Matt Mayoko on KNBR.
He's ramping this thing up, and he is throwing an actual NFL football. This isn't a half the size or half the weight football that he's starting to throw this week. He had a throwing session on Monday that went very well, had a day of rest on Tuesday, came back at it on Wednesday, threw some more. And I don't know this for certain, but I would guess after a day off yesterday that he's probably throwing. He might be throwing on the practice field right now. So all indications are, and based on the very optimistic timeline and the vibe that Shanahan and Lynch give off, it sure sounds like they expect him, all things being equal, barring a setback, that he will be ready to go in the regular season.
That interview came late in the day on Friday, and that is surprising because everything I read was that you start with smaller objects and work your way up to throwing a regulation NFL football. So is Brock Purdy rushing things to try and get back too early? Not so, says Mayoko.
It's not like he hasn't been doing anything for the past 3 months. As you mentioned, he's been throwing whatever, a tennis ball or, a towel, that's and even 3 weeks ago, Kyle Shanahan described the motion, the mechanics that he's going through as violent. He's been going through a violent, throwing motion, but with a towel in his hand. So it's not like he's going from 0 to 100, like, okay, you haven't been doing anything. Okay, let's put a football in your hand and start throwing it. So I think there will be, there will be a ramp up. There is the ramp up that's going on right now. And I don't expect him to play in the preseason. I would fully expect him to get on the field, though, in practices under very controlled settings and doing some stuff.
Now, we only have Matt Mayoko's word to go off of here, but it sounds like Brock has been doing all the steps that we heard he has to do. He's just doing them a little earlier than we thought. That's all great news. Of course, it's good for Brock and it's good for the 49ers. Now what they'll have to decide is how and where to use Brock before the season begins. On the one hand, he hasn't been able to take real reps in a game since the NFC Championship, and it would probably be good for him to get back out there before the season begins. A low-pressure environment like the preseason would be a nice stepping stone before the games actually count, but on the other hand, he's still coming back from a major injury and a major surgery, and the longer he can go without exposing that elbow to any kind of trauma is also a good thing. Now, I'm not saying one is more correct than the other. I honestly don't know what I would do if I was Kyle Shanahan, but that's the juggling act that they've got to perform if Brock stays on this current timeline. We always give you one thing to read, one thing to watch, and one thing you might have missed. One thing to read on this Friday, Levin Black's first column is up for the new site, goldstandardniners.com. He took a deep dive into the history of rookie kickers in the NFL and discovered that our expectations for Jake Moody may be just a bit too high. One thing to watch, I'm going to chat with Chris Sims today of Sunday Night Football. That's going to go up on our YouTube page. We are going to get into it about Sam Darnold because I have to put an end to all of the foolishness. One thing you may have missed, Aaron Rodgers is twisting himself into a pretzel to make himself the victim of the Packers trying to pull a fast one. He gave an interview to The Athletic and contradicted his story about the end of his time in Green Bay multiple times. Mike Florio has the breakdown if you're interested at profootballtalk.com. I know that Aaron Rodgers is good, but damn am I happy that the 49ers did not get that guy. That's a wrap on today's 49ers in 5. Please rate, review, and follow the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Enjoy your Monday, everybody. Be sure, again, check out the new website, goldstandardniners, NINERS.com, for more on these stories and everything else happening in 49er land. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. We'll talk tomorrow.